Okay, so this is question number one of the nuclear physics homework booklet. So question number one is about Rutherford's scattering experiment. And in part one, we're asked to simply say why it's necessary to remove the air from the chamber during Rutherford's scattering experiment. Now, this is something that you just need to learn, so it's just a fact, really. The reason that air is removed is to stop or to prevent deflection of the alpha particles by the air, because what we really want to do is we want to measure the angle that they're deflected by the nuclei. If air's there, then that will also deflect the alpha particles, so that would invalidate the experiment. For part two, we're simply asked to write down two conclusions that come from Rutherford's scattering experiment about the actual nucleus of an atom. So conclusion number one is that the nucleus has a positive charge, and conclusion number two, the nucleus of an atom is small compared to the actual size of the atom itself. So again, they're simply two conclusions of this experiment that you just really need to learn. You're then asked what force or interaction is responsible for Rutherford scattering. So Rutherford scattering again, so you've got your alpha particle, it comes in, it's affected by the nucleus of the atom. Well, both these things are positively charged, and because they're positively charged, the electromagnetic or the electrostatic force or interaction is responsible for this actual, for the deflection of the alpha particles. And then finally, in part B, we're given a figure, and it shows three alpha particles. They've all got the same kinetic energy, so they're all coming in with the same speed, and they're directed towards this nucleus. It gives us the path of particle number two. So this path here was already given to us. We're asked to draw two other lines for particles 1 and 3. Well, particle number 1 is further away from the nucleus, and as we know, the further away from a nucleus for the electromagnetic interaction, the further away you are, the weaker the force. So it's not going to be affected by the nucleus as much. So it'll still come in, it'll still be deflected, but not by very much. So it'll simply bend away, something like this. For the third one, well, the third one's going to get much closer to the nucleus, so the force is going to be bigger. So it's going to be deflected by a bigger angle than 1 and 2. So basically we'll come across and be deflected a lot, and so it'll cross over both path 1 and 2. So you get 1 mark for basically drawing particle number 1, which is deflected a little bit, and 1 mark for particle number 3, and it must cross over the paths of particle number 1 and particle number 2 in order for you to get the mark for that particular, for drawing that particular line. So that was question number one of the nuclear physics homework booklet.